This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
Hey, I'm Stu, and man, I can be a dick. This is Emily, and I have not seen her be a dick. These and many other things will be covered here today. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's always a pleasure to see you. How have you been this week?
I've been busy. It's been a very weird week, a lot going on. What about you? Anything fun, interesting?
Oh, all of that and more. Crikey. Yeah, so
You
many
just
different.
said crikey. So stereotype. Good God. You might as well get a shrimp on the Barbie.
Bold of you to presume I don't already have some
Well, there you
on
go.
the Barbie. We actually purchased one.
A barbecue?
We celebrated Father's Day this weekend past, and the dad of our house received we call it a Barbie or a barbecue.
Yeah.
Americans call it a grill. And so we got him a grill.
Did you put a shrimp on the Barbie and wear that shirt? Because that would be extra special.
Not yet.
Okay.
Unfortunately, as you know, he has to travel a lot for work, so he wasn't here for Father's Day. So we're hoping to celebrate it when he returns.
Well, I will tell you how I was a dick. I heard myself being a dick, and I said, man, I'm being a dick. But I said, it seems good, and I'm going to keep being a dick. I made a conscious choice. Saturday, I slept in. I never sleep in. The latest I sleep in usually is like 7 a.m., and that was the day of the No King's Day protests, and I wanted to get out and do that. And I had stuff I had to do that morning, and I also had to get a bike ride in. So somehow I slept until 9:15. I'm like, wow, I never do that. I don't eat breakfast anyway, but I said, okay, I'll get something at the Wholesome grocery store that is near where the protest is. It wasn't Whole Foods. It's called Mother's, whatever. So I said, I'll get something there and I can eat it and do my protesting. It'll be great. So I turn the corner on the way to the protest. It's right about 12 noon when it starts. And there are so many goddamn people. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. In this very rich, old, tiny town, there are so many people here protesting. So I get into the parking lot and I find a space and I'm pulling in, and out comes security officer and he gives me the hand. And he says, we're asking people to park over at the bank for the protest. And I said, well, I'm buying something in the store and then I'm going to do both. And he says, we're asking people to park over at the bank for the protest. And this is where it took a turn, because I don't like it where people try to intimidate you and then don't have the balls to commit to it. And I said, so if I park here, are you going to tow me? And he was now nodding and he's got attitude. And he said, we're asking people to park over at the bank for the protest. And I said, yes or no question. Are you going to tow me if I park here? Trying to get him to commit. And he goes, well, yes. And I said, okay, you do that. I'm going to go order my lunch, tow me, and I will sue your ass. And now he feels emasculated. And now he has to prove something. And now he's being pissy. So I go in and I order my lunch from their cafe there. It takes about 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'm on my way out. And I show him my receipt and I said, my order will be ready in about 20 minutes. I'm going to go to the protest. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to get my lunch. Tow me then, tough guy. And he said, yeah, we will in about 20 minutes. And I said, you're doing a great job guarding that pavement right there. And I said, you do that. You tow a customer. How do you feel about your life, Rent-A-Cop? And then we just had lots of words going back and forth, and it got rather heated. And I said, do it, tough guy. I dare you. Tow me. And he was just being a dick. And I said, whatever, I'm going. See you later. And I go and I join all the great people out on the sidewalk there. And we had a wonderful time. And I said, going to go pick up my lunch. So I'm heading back into the store and I see him and his buddy Rent-A-Cop, who was much nicer and much easier to deal with. And I said, going to get my lunch now, get ready to tow me. He said, we will in about 20 minutes. I said, maybe 20, 30. So I go and get my order on my way out. I said, I'm going to go eat my lunch now in my car. And I went in my car and I ate about half my lunch and I just kept watching him. And I went back to him and said, why are you not towing me? I don't understand why you're not towing me. And I just kept calling him a Rent-A-Cop and tough guy. And why doesn't he do something? And I did poke the bear quite a bit unnecessarily, but I felt good about it. And I just said, whatever. Then I went back, and this isn't a long period of time. It was maybe 5 minutes after I had my lunch. I just wanted to see what would happen. And I joined the great people, which I have audio of coming up here. I interviewed a bunch of them. And I just had the great best feeling of people making a difference in wonderfulness and standing up to this fucking ridiculous dickery, because I understand what they're doing. They want customers to be able to go into the stores that are in the shopping center. But at the same time, you have a crowd there of what has to be thousands of people, and perhaps all of those people are going to be going into these stores anyway because they are there and want to get food or stuff from the CVS that's right there as well. So all they're doing is pissing people off, and they're pissing me off by threatening that they're going to have me towed and all this stuff. And at various times, I saw them, because they had no authority to do anything, obviously, going to people in the crowd and saying, yeah, we're asking people to park at the bank. If they're parked here, can you tell people here that are standing around? And I went up when they were doing this and said, you can just ignore them. They don't know what they're doing. They're not going to tow anybody. And I went through the whole day. Nobody got towed. They were full of shit. And I felt really good about it. Was that over the dick line? Was that on the dick line? How do you feel? I try to judge as she's making faces while I talk.
There's something wrong with you, and I don't know what it is. It's like deep and
it was just
traumatic.
Such an unnecessary thing. Oh, you're threatening me, then you're not going to really threaten to tow me, then you're going to do it, then you're not going to back it up.
But the thing is, he wasn't the one who started with the towing. You're the one who asked him first, are you going to tow me? You're the one who introduced the punitive measure.
Because I want to find out what the bottom line is. He's asking people to go park over at the bank. Great. I'm asking that I park here. And oh, by the way, not that he knew this, but there was no parking at the bank at that point. So sorry.
Yeah. But still, you could have just said, yeah, but I'm going to the store.
I did that starting out.
Yeah, but then
the
you could
initial
have
part of the
just,
story.
but then you could have just left it. But then you would just kept going out of your way, like a bored, miserable man, trying to fucking interject yourself on a couple of people. You're lucky you didn't get the shit kicked out of you.
Oh, come on.
100%. If you had have done that in a country that wasn't this, you would have got the shit kicked out of you. And you probably would have deserved it.
Well, to be fair, it would have happened in this country too if I were talking to an ICE agent, but oh well. But no, it just felt like such an unnecessary thing. And when he gives me the hand as I'm pulling into a space and then has attitude saying, we're telling people to park over at the bank. Well, okay, this is one day out of how many days, and just live with it. And if you are going to threaten me, then back it up, fuckface.
Well, I mean, he's just a guy trying to do his job as well, isn't it? He's not making the rules. This is like the guy who shot the woman in the face because she asked him to wear a mask. She didn't make the rules. She's just...
Well, but I didn't shoot anybody in the face, though.
I know, but you're just, being mean to a guy, calling him a rent-a-cop, and, making fun of him for his job.
Well,
but he didn't make the rules and stuff. And, he's just a guy earning his living. You could have been mean to him about him being a dick, but it's pretty mean to be mean about him for his job.
Well, I see your point, and you weren't there. You didn't see how it went. I started doing that when he was in full dick mode and not backing off and telling me he was going to tow me in 20 minutes, and we were arguing 20 minutes versus 30 minutes when I could get my food, and he wasn't backing down, and he was in full dick mode. So I said, okay, we're both in full dick mode, and really his job is guarding this pavement unnecessarily. I said, yes, I'm being a dick, but I feel okay about it. And I understand your points, though. I get it, because I see it a little bit, too. But
I mean, as long as you feel good about it, as long as you can live with yourself, that's fine.
Yeah, it felt like warranted dickery is what it felt like.
Yeah, well.
And also, you are not one for confrontation, usually, I don't think, right?
Well, it depends. I will if I feel like it's justified, but I'm never going to go out of my way to be mean to someone. So, for example, I demanded a refund for a camp this week.
Yeah.
My son went to a coding camp and he went on the first day. And after I picked him up, I was like, how was it? And he said, the guy who was the instructor, the camp counselor or whatever, was very rude and condescending to the younger students. So there was first graders who couldn't keep up and he was really talking down to them. And it really affected his sensibility of what is fair and right. It really upset him how that man was treating the younger kids. And it also made him feel uncomfortable asking questions. And then these little kids asked this guy, hey, do you like your job? Because in their minds, this is the coolest job ever. There's a whole bunch of nerdlings. They're like looking up at this big nerd going, oh my gosh, when I grow up, I want to be a mega nerd like you and lead, be a leader of the nerds. And this guy, dead ass, looks at these kids and goes, I don't want to be here.
Wow.
Yeah, so my eldest son gets in the car, relays all of this to me. And I was like, great. Do you want to go back tomorrow? He said, no way.
Yeah.
And so I rang up the owner and just said, I want to let you know that my son will not be returning. I would like a refund. Here are all of the reasons why, because quite frankly, I have zero interest in spending good money to have my son spend time with an angry man who openly doesn't want to be around children, who doesn't like his job and has told them that he doesn't want to be there,
Right.
and where the kids are too afraid to ask him questions, and where he's being openly mean to elementary school kids. And so, yeah, got a refund.
Okay, that's good. I thought you were going to say it was a battle, and I was going to ask if you at any point called the guy a rent-a-cop, because I think that helps.
No. No, it was not a battle, because I said I am happy to be prorated. If you would like to charge me for the 1 out of 5 days that he attended, I would like to be fair. However, I am very uncomfortable with having my son be around this man. I do not think that he is suitable for working with children. Thusly, he will not be returning. It was not a conversation. She didn't have much room to go, but she understood. And she said, thank you for the feedback. She's going to give him the feedback and that she would give me a refund.
That's good. Even if the guy wasn't just plain shitty, you don't know if somebody like that is going to be really weird and flip out. You don't know what you're dealing with. So good for you.
Well, the kids said that he was getting more and more irate and weird as the day went on.
Wow.
And before the day was even over, my son started texting me going, hey, can you come pick me up? We're not doing anything. And there was a whole bunch of people that weren't with their group all around their equipment and in their area. And one of the little kids looks up at their leader, at the man, and goes, who are all those people? And the man snaps at him and goes, how the hell am I supposed to know?
Wow. See, now, maybe you think this is too much of me being me, but I would find out who the other parents are, maybe wait around to contact the other parents and let them know, or tell that kid, hey, here's my number, have your mom and dad call me, because that's bullshit.
It is, but I was the first to pick up my son, and so we'd already left before all of this had sort of
logistically, it didn't work out. Right.
Logistically, it was difficult. So, story time.
Now that we're all caught up, let's go to some happy, good, positive things. I will call this Stew on the Street. The No Kings protests happened this past weekend. It was huge, like I said. In my particular area, it was huge. They say 5 million across the country, and of course, that's being diminished and marginalized anywhere they can do that. And I did this in an old, rich city, didn't expect a lot. And I spoke to and interviewed a few really great people. And here's audio of that now. Hey, it's Stu out here in Orange County, and we have a tremendous turnout here for the No Kings Day. And we have an entire family here. And hi, what's your name?
Trent.
What does this represent to you? What do you want to get across to the world today?
I don't know. I think it's just it's a good way for us to go out and show on one day collectively across the country the people that are extremely frustrated with how things have gone this year, and be able to show that democracy is still something that people value and that you can't cut corners and things need to be done the right way.
What's your name, dude?
DJ Icky.
Tell me about why you're out here and what you stand for and what's going on.
Stand for unity. Stand for Americans, the real Americans. That's everybody all together. This is a melting pot of cultures. And that's what we're out here. We're out here to fight fascism, racism, segregation, and to get rid of any type of person that wants to invade our country and turn it around and put it into something that it's not.
Very good words. Can you tell me how you've been affected by what's going on?
I'm gonna get real personal right now. My daughter has been training. She just graduated from Tribuco Hills High School. She's been training for the last 12 to 16 months to become in the Army, the military.
Yeah.
She signed up. She was gonna deploy in July. All these events happened, and she decided that she didn't want to go to the military anymore. This girl has a bright future. She has a 4.0 GPA. She's a scholar athlete, straight A's all her life. She's an ideal American, but she says she can't support people or a government that doesn't support her or her people. And when she saw what happened with, bringing in the troops and the soldiers, she doesn't want to be put in that position because she's here to protect us and not fight against us.
And it's obvious that that's the case because of the values that you instilled in her. Exactly. So good for you, man.
Exactly. True, yes.
All right. Thank you for talking to us.
I appreciate you.
Hey, what's your name?
Nikki.
Nikki, we got a huge crowd out here today. If I had to guess, and I'm bad at numbers, I would say thousands. Do you think thousands?
Yeah, easily.
This is a big turnout because this is a really conservative part of Orange County, right?
Yes, it is.
You just came out because you wanted to do the right thing and you feel strong about it?
Yep, been doing it for a while now, actually.
Cool. Very cool. Good for you. What's your name?
Allie.
Allie. I want to ask you something. Be very honest with me.
Okay.
Were you paid to be here today?
Oh, God, absolutely
No.
not.
There's thousands of people. Have you run into anybody that's been paid to be here today?
I have not, in fact.
I don't understand. The Republican Party says that people have been paid to come out here. What do you think is going on? It doesn't make sense in my head.
Right. Well, they say a lot of things. Nobody out here has been paid. That's a fact.
Very good to know. You have it right here from the mouth of somebody. And wow, that's a good horn. Thank you, UPS. Hey, what's your name?
Bryce.
And who are you?
Brittany.
I've always wanted to say one thing. More cowbell. Way to go. So there you go. That's the way it went. And like I said, just lots of great, cool, fun people. None of it felt angry or shitty. It was like, okay, we are coming together and we are going to make a difference. And I haven't felt that good and positive about stuff, especially after the security guard in a long time,
That's so great. I love that. And I'm really happy that you went along and that it was such a positive experience. We had a massive protest here.
I was just about to ask, what it's like there. We tell people you're in
huge.
Kentucky, but you're not really in Kentucky. That's kind of a cover, but you're in that general area. So what was going on there?
Yeah, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. Massive, massive protests. Bunch of my neighbors have yard signs. There's lots of different things happening on. We're also having local elections at the moment, and I voted for the first time yesterday.
How did that feel?
It was great. It was very sweet. I went in to the church and it comes up on their screen when you're a first-time voter. And the lady calls out, she goes, "First-time voter." And all of the volunteers started cheering and applauding. It was very sweet.
It's like it's your birthday or something. And then they sang you a song and brought you a birthday cake.
It was very, very sweet. And so I went through the process and it's very different to what I'm used to. It was all digital and print out the thing and put it through the machine and whatnot. But it's good. I'm practicing for the midterms.
Did you see any type of bullshittery, anybody out on the sidewalk with like intimidation, anything weird, anything to speak of there?
Not at all. It's local elections for mayor, attorney general, that kind of thing. Hardly anybody was voting. I was the 18th person to vote that day in that location. It was ridiculous. There was nobody there. It was completely empty except for me.
See, that sucks because, okay, I get that it's local and it's just the small one, quotation marks, but when you even try to scale that up and try to get the rest of the people to vote in things that matter, you understand why we have low turnout. And it should be like it was in your land. It should be mandatory and it should be a holiday. And if you don't vote, you go to jail, you son of a bitch. But the current administration for sure doesn't want that.
Yeah, get a fine or something. I was so excited. I saw the the news saying, hey, it's voting tomorrow. So I talked to my kids about it. We looked up who was running because you need to choose between multiple candidates. So we looked up their policies. We looked up their credentials. So it was interesting. And
you have to do that because looking at the ballot, sometimes you can't get an idea. And especially on whatever measure you're looking at, trying to read that off of what is described there is just mind-numbing because it just doesn't make sense the way they word it sometimes.
Well, I mean, when I went in, it was just names. So I went in knowing who I wanted to vote for. And so I had to recognize their name because it didn't even have which party they were with.
Do you get anything in the mail there? I know we get like workbooks sometimes here.
I haven't yet, but I've only been registered as a voter for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I had such a great feeling out at that event and a little bit of a change. Like, okay, I know this is going to stir things up and the other side is going to be more pissed off, but I felt really good about America for the first time. So I created a new sounder and we can use that when it is appropriate.
America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah.
So there's that. Remember Team America? You've seen Team America probably, right?
100%.
There you go.
Definitely many times.
So that in the movie was kind of redneck, dumb shit, fight, blow shit up, ironic America, fuck yeah. But I am saying we're taking it back. This is ours now.
America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah.
I don't mean it ironically. I mean it earnestly. America, fuck yeah, do the right thing. We're on the right track.
Yeah, and I something else that I found really heartening is that the flag is coming back. I think that a lot of these right-wing extremists have tried to take the flag for themselves, and the flag is being turned into this symbol of hatred and ridiculousness, which is really sad because it shouldn't be at all.
Right.
There should be nothing wrong with being able to have your flag and be proud of your flag. And it's just, it's sad that that's the way that it's gone. So it's very nice to actually see a bunch of these protesters actually out there going, you know what? Fuck yeah, we're taking the flag back, motherfuckers.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that because I still view the American flag as being appropriated by MAGA and it's theirs. And if I see somebody with that flag, I automatically assume that it's them being right-wing and fascist and all that stuff. And I don't know if that's changed yet, but I would like to change that. And how do you feel about the upside down flag that a lot of people are doing right now? I feel it works for me because I feel like we're upside down as a country.
Well, it's an international signal of distress. So it actually has a meaning.
Okay.
I think I understand what people are doing with it.
How do you feel, and this is a controversial thing that we've talked about before on the show, I don't know if it was with you, how do you feel about people burning our flag?
I come from a large military family from my home country. I believe in taking care of flags. So I am superstitious about flags and that kind of thing. So for example, I used to have to hoist a flag, never let a flag touch the ground, all of these different things, change it out if it gets tattered. I would never burn a flag. It's against what I believe in. I struggle to articulate to you why, but part of it is because of how I was raised.
Right.
And I don't believe in it. When I see people burning flags, it feels, I'm like, whoa.
It almost seems like that's because it's something that's instilled in you, almost superstition rather than idealism. Is that accurate?
I think it's because it's not superstition. It's around patriotism and, you know, there are so many people who live for, die for the country, and the flag is the representation of that. And it feels so deeply disrespectful to burn that. I think about what are people saying when they're burning the flag? And I think my reaction to it, it's the same as if people were to like cut it up or rip it up or, do all those different types of things. Now, I'm not as extreme as there are some people who feel like if you have flag bikinis or flag board shorts that it's like super disrespectful. I'm not that crazy about it, but I think it's just something, I just feel like it's disrespectful.
See, because I am totally fine with burning the flag. I wouldn't do it. I don't feel like it's the greatest statement ever, but I think if I got pissed off enough and things went really poorly south in this country, I would absolutely do it. And the thing that I point to is that the ideals of this country and that flag represents completely relate to your right and ability to burn that flag. That flag stands for you having the right to burn that flag. So I would look at it from that point of view. And then also there's a great comedy bit from Bill Hicks, who was a comedian that died a long time ago in the 90s. And he was talking about this, and some redneck came up to him and said, "Hey, buddy, my father died for that flag." And he said, "Oh, I got mine from Kmart right over there." And it's just like, okay, I get that it's a thing. I get that it symbolizes something. But also, if you're going to look at the ideas of what is put into that flag, you should absolutely be able to burn it. And I think either way is fine. I understand what you're saying, though. So
yeah, I mean, somebody else can burn it. I don't give a shit. I'm all for free speech. I don't have to like it, though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with free speech. You're going to hear things you don't want to hear sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just for the record, I don't see people burning flags a lot these days because both sides seem to be respectful of it. I just thought of that when we went down that road that we went down. So
yeah.
So then I started looking at what happened with Donald Trump's birthday and that whole celebration, and I wanted to do a comparison thing.
Oh, yeah. Womp, womp.
Yeah.
That was, wow, what a soft cock military fucking... Oh, God.
He looked so unhappy sitting there with Melania. He just looked devastated. And I didn't hear the details, but he's starting to blame the military now as of today. I heard in a couple places.
For what?
Because they weren't really into it and they weren't respectful as they should have been, and they were too casual or something. Like I said, this is just passing headlines I saw.
The best part, the best story that I heard coming out of that total farce was that the song that they were playing, the military band was playing as they marched past, was Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, which for the uninitiated is actually a song about how the children of wealthy individuals were able to sort of make up physical ailments and avoid the draft.
Yeah,
during
wrong
war.
Song.
Right, isn't it?
For the company included, completely wrong song.
But they chose it. I think that they chose it to give him the finger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was just a mistake you were implying there. And that directly points to Donald Trump. So
exactly. You know, I'm sure his bone spurs started to ache.
He is the fortunate son in that song.
He is the fortunate son in that song. But, irony abounds. And in my heart, I believe that whoever chose the songs knew exactly what they were doing when they did that, as a big fuck you.
And who on Trump's side wasn't watching over that to make sure that the right songs got played? And did they just miss it? Did they not get told about it? Because guaranteed that's happening after they had that big political rally where they were playing Celine Dion songs by mistake, And
maybe they're just too daft to even know what any of these things
They're just
mean.
Songs with words. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're just words, songs. Who knows? Anyway, in my heart, it makes me happy to imagine that was all by design.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. That's great. That's really just like the ultimate fuck up. And he just looked devastated and couldn't say infantry at one time, and his shoulders popping up when he's saying infantry. And one of the YouTube channels I watch talked about how he has these things where he gets it clogged up in his brain and stutters and says the wrong word and has an involuntary shoulder pop when he says it. And he was saying infamy and his shoulder kept popping up. And it's like, oh, okay. You make fun of Biden. At least Biden had it together well enough to not completely F up the country. So, oh yeah, there's that part of it.
I have not even watched a single word out of his mouth just because I can't.
It's hard. It's hard to watch him. Yeah. I've seen little snippets in news reports, and I have some audio here just as a comparison. I'm going to play for you 10 seconds of the No Kings protest that I was at. That's real audio. I wasn't paid to be there. And now here's 10 seconds of Donald's birthday military parade.
It's a tank.
Yeah, it's a tank rolling down the street. Did you see video of the tank? Because that was pretty great. That massive celebration they're having, and there's a tank rolling down the street, just squeaking like that. It was like a Simpsons bit in my head. I don't watch The Simpsons much anymore, but you could see
Very
like, okay,
apt.
we're out at this party, and then they do a cut to Mr. Burns' big military party, and there's this tank just...
And the only one there waving a flag is Ralphie Wiggum.
I go to the military. Ralphie is the police chief's son. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to work it out in my head. It's been a while. That's such great stuff.
Yeah. Chief Wiggum.
So I hope we're on the right track. Come on, everybody. Keep it going. That's what I'm thinking.
Keep it going. Let's go. Ridiculously, they're now softening the ICE raids and the scoopy uppies because apparently there's no one to pick fruit and work in hotels. Duh.
Well, there's a couple points to that. That's his rich friend saying, oh my God, we're going to have to pay people really. And my response when I saw that come up that they were saying, okay, we're not going to go after the farm workers and the hotel workers was, I thought all illegal immigrants were bad. And I thought all illegal immigrants were draining our economy and we're going to be devastated by them. So only a little bit of devastating our economy is okay. Is that what we're to take from that?
It's ridiculous. It's not even just about paying people. It's about quite literally not having enough bodies. I've seen footage of fruit rotting on the trees because it can't get picked. So if we don't think that in a few weeks from now, food prices are going to go through the roof because we've lost a whole heap of produce, it's unfathomable. It's ridiculous. It's like watching some sort of ridiculous economic experiment done by sixth graders or something where they give them like some fake money and then send them over to BizTown or whatever and get them to run an economy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Or it's like watching a child operate a digger at the park and they just pull the levers back and forth. Like wildly. That's wildly spinning around with no rhyme nor reason, only stopping when it hits another child. Oh, wrong way. Go back. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a radio station here in LA that I started listening to again, and they have a great new promotion. They have said that, okay, we identify that so many immigrants don't have their businesses functioning anymore and are struggling and are in a bad place. So their new promotion is 10,000 Taco Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, you're supposed to go out and buy as many tacos as you can from taco stands and send them pictures of it. And I think there might be a contest involved or something, but you do that just to support those people and send pictures to the radio station and do all that. And 10,000 Taco Tuesdays is just a great way to go.
I like it.
Yeah. And then here's this other thing. This was on NBC News the other day, and I thought this was a great example of good people doing the right thing and looking out for others too. This is a news report.
Right now, we're headed to Superior, which is a local grocery store here in Santa Ana.
It sounds ordinary, but this isn't a routine grocery run. The food Cuatli's about to buy isn't for her. It's for a family she's never met. One that she says is too afraid to leave their home.
She just asked for a few items, frijoles, fruit, I think rice.
Guatli isn't her real name. She asks us to conceal her identity to protect her and those she helps. She's part of a small neighborhood group in Santa Ana, delivering groceries and providing rides to undocumented people who are too afraid to risk even a trip to the store.
I see a need, and I just feel a sense of urgency to fill it.
Guatli says her work started with her child's grandmother.
She was afraid to leave her house, and that's kind of where I was like, oh my gosh. So that's when I knew, like, there must be more people afraid to leave their homes.
So she mobilized her neighborhood, helping launch a network to support families citywide. And in just 1 week, they've been flooded with requests.
I'm just grabbing vegetables that honestly I usually cook with and that my mom cooks with. So I'm assuming, these are going to be the ones that she needs the most.
But this effort goes beyond food and rides.
I think right now the most important thing is just to let folks know, like, you're not alone. We're here for you.
She's not alone either. The community has shown up. She says more than 200 people have offered time and donations.
People think that going out and protesting or like doing that type of physical action is the only type of action you can take, but you can support the undocumented community in many ways.
Guatli loads the groceries into her car. We don't follow her to drop off to protect the family receiving help. A simple grocery run, anything but ordinary, and a powerful reminder, in the toughest of times, community endures.
So that is a great story, and it's great that people thought of that. And like they said, everybody's stepping forward now and wants to help with that. And I try to think, okay, if I try to jump in on that, it's too late. How do I find that in my local area? And how do you find the good things to do? And then I come to, I mentioned it last week that I have neighbors that are Hispanic and I think from Mexico. They talked one time about having their loved ones come up for the weekend. And I want to be able to go to them and say, hey, this is weird to bring up, but here's where I stand. And if anything ever happens with you, please come running and jump over the back gate. And I'm wondering how to bring that up. And I haven't come up with a good tactful way to do that yet, because it makes a lot of assumptions. You know what I mean? And I don't want to have them be offended by me making those assumptions.
Mm. If you're not close enough if you're not actual friends with them, if you're not close enough to them to know, I wouldn't make assumptions.
Right. I mean, I think I know. It seems like I know. We're not best friends, but this woman talked about her mother coming up for the holiday one time that we were talking. And like I said, it's hard to bring up if you don't know. And I'm trying to look for the right time, because if you walk over there and knock on their door, that's weirder than if you just run into them in the driveway.
Yeah, exactly. If you do run into them in the driveway, I think you could just very openly say, hey, with everything going on right now, how are you doing?
Right.
I just want you to know that my mom and I are here for you if we can ever support you.
And I literally thought of it that way in my head. And then I thought, okay, they might take that as condescending. I don't want that to sound condescending. Just like, oh, you poor people, let us help you because we're the white people. Don't want them to take it that way either.
I don't think that they would, because that's not how it's intended.
Mm.
And I mean, if they do take it that way, then they don't know you. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I assume they know you even just a little bit, and so they'll know you well enough to know that you mean it.
Yeah, I mean, they know me as the guy that has kept my mouth shut because they did work they weren't authorized to do on their house, and I didn't turn them into the homeowners association. You know, at least there's that, because we had that conversation. Like, I don't care. It's not forcing me to look at it. I don't care what you did. Paint your house purple for all I care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah, stupid.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, just taking a step away from all of that, and I want to get the show back on track and just doing normal things as it's warranted. And here's a story that came up, and I just wanted to pass it out to you because you never know. If someone in your life is depressed, please don't kiss them. Whatever you do, don't do that, because there's a new study that finds that you can transfer the depression and mood that you have through your saliva. I guess bummer people produce cortisol, which is transmitted to other people, which impacts bacteria in your biome, and that can make you depressed. And they've done these studies and found out that, like, if one person is depressed and you make out, then it passes on the depression. So I guess the answer is, if somebody who's depressed is trying to kiss you, you should scream at them, "Get away from me, you freak. I don't want what you have."
I think it's even more simple than that. You don't even have to kiss them.
Yeah.
If you are stressed and you're producing cortisol, there have also been studies, and it was in blind tests where they made people wear shirts. They had a control group, and then they had a group that was put under immense emotional stress. And your body produces fear pheromones, right? So you can smell fear and stress. So I don't even have to say anything, and there will be a chemical change in my body that will be able to be detected by my children.
Interesting. And see, the thing is, I went for a joke there and you bypassed that and went to your facts, and I thought you were going for a joke, and here we are.
No, but still, definitely do still scream at them.
Okay.
But you're still going to get depressed anyway. Like, you may as well be sad,
Right.
but have been kissed.
It's so weird that we pick up on that, and they're just learning that we as human beings pick up on that, because that's very animalistic, and they see that's what animals do, and pheromones and all that stuff. And it's like, wow, it makes sense if you think about it, because you walk into a room where there's shit going on and you know there's shit going on.
Exactly. Like, why do you think that humans kiss? Like, what's the biological reason for it? Have you ever thought about it?
I've wondered about how that happens routinely, culture to culture, country to country, but I haven't thought about the overall meaning.
So there are some schools of thought who believe that when selecting a mate, sense of smell is really important in sensing compatibility, genetic compatibility, in terms of like illnesses and all of that kind of stuff, and making sure that you would essentially make good babies. And the way to do that is through smelling people's mouths and whatnot, and, saliva.
And I guess that's why Mountain Dew drinkers end up with those that use Axe body spray.
I mean, one can only assume.
Makes sense in my head.
It makes 100% sense. It's science.
Yeah, it's like that. Those are the same people. They just have a Mountain Dew and spray some of that on you. Oh, you're good to go. She's going to want you now.
Yeah, and then their little babies they just put a nipple on the Mountain Dew and the baby pops out. Yeah.
Go to the strip club afterwards. Not that I have anything against strippers.
Oh my gosh. I saw a video this morning and it made me giggle. It was of a father and a son, a tiny little toddler, and they were in a car. And the father says, "Okay, well, do we have to move daycare? Do we have to move state?" And the child says, "Well, Daddy, I have to be honest. I had a little bit of a problem." And the father says, "Well, I think it's a little bit more than a little bit of a problem. We do not get on the table and sing that song." And the little kid starts singing, "Somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper." And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should not listen to music that you don't want children singing at home.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine that? Little kid, 2.5, daycare, gets up, starts dancing and belting that out, and the parent has to get called to come and pick up the kid because they won't stop singing it.
Yeah. Modern generation's probably not a great idea to play a WAP with your kid in the car. That's the most modern thing I can come up with. And older generations also, Crazy Bitch, probably an inappropriate song for your kids in the car. Those two come to mind for me initially.
100%.
Right.
Yeah, never. Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I just... Yeah,
I'd even be fine with songs that have the F word and S word in them. It depends on the context. And I would tell my kid, okay, there's certain words that we're okay with. And really, any words around the house are okay. If you want to know about stuff, ask about stuff. But when we're in public, there's an expectation that people had, and these are ones that we try to avoid. And hopefully that works.
I agree.
A couple fun facts that I get from Facebook. Actually, I think technically these are weird facts, just little things to think about, and these seem appropriate this week. In 1978, a student earning minimum wage during summer could afford to pay a full year's in-state tuition at a 4-year public university without going into debt. Oh, things have changed.
Wow.
That's the way the country used to be.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I've made the point week after week that if you work a full-time job, you ought to be able to live in this country, and
Absolutely.
you can't. But back then, a student working for a summer could pay for college. And then there's also this one, kind of satisfying. Bank of America wrongfully foreclosed on a couple who subsequently sued and won a judgment for $2,500 in legal expenses. When Bank of America failed to pay the couple, they arrived at the bank with a moving company, 2 sheriff's deputies, and a writ that authorized them to begin seizing furniture and cash. So a little bit of a turnaround there. And they took stuff from the bank because they fucked them, and then they fucked them back. And I like a good fucking back.
My word.
Mm-hmm.
But what is one going to do with all of those brightly colored and uncomfortable lounges? And do you have to pull the pens off the chain?
Well, nowadays you could get about 10,000 pens because a lot of banks are giving away free pens. I have about 100 of them in my drawer.
True.
Yeah, because I took my mom to the bank about a year ago, and she's cheaper than I am, and she just kept grabbing pen after pen after pen. And I'm like, okay, are we going to need that many pens? Really? Turns out they're defective pens. Like, the plastic comes apart and you click them and they can't write anymore because the plastic's coming apart. So maybe it's good that she took 100. It'll last a year.
I'm just imagining both of you leaving the bank with your pockets full of pens, almost like the cheeks of a squirrel. Just bulbous, full of pens, like saddlebags from a Western.
Don't make me tell you where we put most of the pens.
I think you're going to find out next week on Wednesday.
Sure. That procedure's coming up in July. Hey, what's that? All righty. It's a great time to end the show, I feel. Unless now that I'm saying you're ending the show, you have something else that you want to throw in so we talk for another 10 minutes.
I don't have any exciting updates. I've already given you all of my news.
All right, because usually we stop the show, but we don't stop the show. So now we're going to stop the show.
Meet me.
Right there, we've stopped it. Everybody have a great week.
Bye.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.